What bothers me is that there are a lot of people, subscribers of mine, or even fellow content creators, who are saying that they want indie games to grow. Like they want an alternative to the mainstream entertainment that is right now. But at the same time, they have a weird dislike, and I would even say disdain towards websites like Pixiv, and they do not understand just how important this website is for indie game developers. And I'll explain why, right? Like whether you're making an indie game or if you have like a project like a manga or a comic book or whatever, you need to hire artists. And the question is like, where do you hire them from? Like, how do they grow? And the answer is like, Pixiv is one of those places. It is a non-corporate place. It's where you can get people who haven't been indoctrinated in the universities and the academia of the West. And these individuals, they start drawing as a hobby, and some of them become really good. And once they reach a certain level, they put their work up on the internet on places like Pixiv, and they get money in order to improve their craft. So a person like myself who wants to make an independent game, or a person like American Outlier who's a subscriber of mine and wants to make a manga, well, we go on Pixiv and we find artists that we like and then we hire them. And that's how independent games are made. So when Pixiv is being affected by various policies, I do find it concerning. Now, some of those policies are common sense, others not so much. For example, last year, MasterCard was saying that they want to remove art which is non-consent. And you know, like, it sounds good. Like, if you're in a boardroom and you're in a meeting, like, why would you want to have rape on your mainstream platform and people use credit cards and stuff? But then you realize that stuff like hypno fetishes are now a problem, right? So if you have, like, a succubus that uses her oogly eyes in order to seduce a guy, well, that can't be on the website now. Or if you have a vampire lady. I mean, something like in Twilight, I guess, and the vampire lady, like, seduces her prey. Well, that can't be on the website. And, you know, you're going to say, well, this is just, like, fetishism, like, who cares about it? Well, the people who want to make a living out of it care, because if the rules can change on a whim, like something that seems harmless, like you're an artist and you're specializing in this type of niche audience, and overnight you have your livelihood ruined, it discourages other artists from pursuing a similar career. So this is why I would care. Like, if you want independent games, like, take into account that the graphics from those games are made by someone, like someone hand draws them. And it's usually, like, not the game developer themselves that are also the artists. So websites like Pixiv encourage competition amongst artists. It encourages them to perfect their craft. And it is done in a non-university environment. So when something happens to Pixiv, I tend to pay attention. Now, recently, there was a new update to their terms of service that I genuinely agreed with. Believe it or not, like, you know, despite the fact that it's quote-unquote censorship, I do agree with what was being done. And they say that regarding the display of certain works in specific countries and regions have been banned. So everyone assumed that, you know, like in Italy, for instance, drawings can land you in prison. So like, if you're an Italian, you obviously don't want to browse the internet on a website that's like Pixiv, which is open for the wider audience, and accidentally stumble upon a drawing which can land you into prison, right? Like, I think that's common sense. Now, you can disagree with the Italian law, but at the same time, if you live in Italy, like if you're a tourist in Italy, you don't want to end up when you're browsing Twitter, and as you're going through your Twitter feed, you get to see, I don't know, like a picture of Sailor Moon, and because of that, you land in prison, right? And the newspapers would say that you have been found guilty of viewing CP. The prosecutor accuses you of that. Your fellow inmates know that. No one knows that you actually browse Sailor Moon. I already made a video about how the Italian Supreme Court interprets lolly, and they interpret by anime girl with small tits and no pubes. Like, that is their legal interpretation, okay? It doesn't matter what you think lolly is. It doesn't really matter what you imagine. It matters what that old judge in Italy views. So if that is the case, I do understand why websites like Pixiv would say, well, hold on a little bit. If you happen to be in Italy, let us do you a favor, and we're going to remove stuff that can land you in prison. Now, apparently, that's not what this actually is, right? Like, that's what I thought. But as you go on Reddit and you investigate what people who use Pixiv say, it's not what I initially considered to be the case. What is happening, though, is that this law affects the United States and the United Kingdom, and it affects certain works that have been posted, I believe, between December and July. So people on Reddit are saying that during this time period, there were a lot of indistinguishable, like realistically depicted AI-generated pictures involving minors that have been brought on the website. And I tend to believe that it may be the case because Twitch itself, if you guys remember, came out and reverted their policy, which allowed for artistic nudity, due to the fact that, according to Twitch, many people were uploading AI-generated images which were indistinguishable from real people. So we're not talking about anime anymore, which, in my opinion, doesn't look like human beings. I mean, they don't have a nose, their eyes are big, you know, they're cartoon characters. Like, you can look at it and you can tell it's fictional. But with the AI-generated art, it is so indistinguishable that many people can't tell the difference. So now you have, like, all these companies that are trying to crack down on the influx of AI-generated art. Now, at this point, the conversation, in my opinion, stops being about Pixiv and actually starts being about government control. It is upsetting that more and more people are misusing the AI because what they're doing is going to be used as a justification to crack down on individual citizens to have access to AI. And what I mean by this is there's going to be regulations to try their best in order to prevent someone from having their own AI that runs on a laptop in offline mode. Like, every single AI is going to require people to be online only so that the company can supervise your messages and that they can have what they like to say as AI safety to make sure that the AI gives you the prompts that are allowed. You know, and while I agree that when it comes to indistinguishable pictures of children are definitely something to be concerned, but if you look at what Elon Musk posted about Microsoft's AI, where it considers that saying I want to have white kids is white supremacy, and that is part of its AI safety training, you can see why many people may choose to want to have, like, their own AI on a laptop without that safety training. But unfortunately, I don't think that average citizens are going to be allowed to do anything like that. And this trend of individuals uploading these vile pictures that are AI generated, whether it's on Twitch or on Pixiv or on other places of the internet, are going to be used as a justification for more crackdown and more AI safety. So that is my prediction for what's going to happen next year. You're going to have a lot of people using AI in very creative ways that's going to compete with established entertainment brands. And up until a point that the government would come in and they'll say, well, actually, we need to lobotomize the AI and crack down on it because some people are misusing it. It's basically like AI control, the same thing like gun control, right? It's like because some people misuse their guns, you who don't, you're not supposed to have a gun either, right? Like, that is the mentality that's going to be used. So that is my prediction for next year. I guess we'll see if I'm right or not. And I'll talk to you guys in the comment section. Take care.